Welcome to the Church Explorer, and today we are in the village of Duxford in Cambridgeshire. And if you hear aircraft in the background, it's because that's where the Duxford Aircraft Museum is, and there's a fella up there at the moment and he's having a hell of a time in some plane, keep doing stunts, so I can't do anything about that. So anyway, we are in the village of Duxford and we've come to explore St. John the Baptist Church. There are two churches apparently in the village, St. John's and St. Peter's. St. Peter's I haven't found as yet, and if possible I'll try and film that for you today. But this church is under the care of the Church's Conservation Trust and hasn't been used since around about 1874, I think it is, or 1879. There are some fantastic wall paintings in here and other lovely little things that I'll try and show you as much as I possibly can, as I always try to do. So, and as you can see, it's a wonderful, beautiful day here today, and we'll take a wander round and see what we find. Before we go into the church, what I wanted to show you was this pretty little priest door. If I walk over and walk round to it, and what it has above it is some red brickwork, but I want to show you this. Look at that. This is the gorgeous priest door that I wanted to show you, and if we look above the top of it, it has what's believed to be red brickwork that dates back to the Tudor times. I always like to see those little doors. I'll wander round and show you as much as I can. As you can see, various parts have been added to the tower, and as I say, it sits between the chancel and the nave, which would have made it a crucifix shaped church. Whoops, I've got to be careful I don't fall over. And the brickwork or stonework, it's a complete mixture of Cambridgeshire stones and various other parts have been added over the years, as you can see. I'll show you a little bit more of the outside. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous church, I will say that for it. And it's exceedingly rustic. When we go inside, you will just see how rustic it really is, because as I say, it was ceased use in 1874. I'm coming across, always have to be careful where I stand. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? There you go, you see that spike? It's actually, as I say, it's leaded, but also it's twisted because apparently there was a Union Jack put up there for the celebrations of Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee, and the wind caught the spike and actually twisted it. Now most of this tower is Norman. I have a Spitfire flying behind me somewhere. As we go into the porch, most of the woodwork here of the porch actually dates back to the 15th century. And if I step over here and pan up, you will be able to see. I hope you'll be able to see that all okay. And the stonework here is also rather gorgeous. Look at this sort of herringbone fashion of the stonework. I think that's kind of reminiscent more of the Saxon stone, isn't it not, of design. I hope this is coming out okay. I think it is. So we're going to step into the church. Whoops. So let's take a wander in. As I say, you will see that it's very, very rustic in here. And it's also very cool for such a bright day. The font, it's believed, dates back to around about the 14th century. As you can see, it's octagonal. I don't see any markings on the font, but my guess would be that it probably would have been painted way back then. We'll take a view down the church, and you can see all these old pews. As I say, it's exceedingly rustic in here, and there are some wonderful wall paintings. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a wander down here and explore a little bit more. But look at these pews. I love to see all this original woodwork. To my left we have a staircase that would have been up to the rood screen. It's a stone staircase. Obviously we can't get up there anymore. But there it is. And there's an immense amount of graffiti throughout this church, and I will be showing you some of it, whereas it dates back, you know, to 14th, 15th, 1600s. But yes, this would have been a rood screen across the top here. And on these walls here, you can just see the remnants of some of the paintings to which they will eventually get round to restore. Again, this wonderful archway. As you can see, I'm going to pan in a bit. I hope the colours are coming out. This is absolutely glorious. And if you could imagine that completely painted, and these columns, again, I've got to be very, very careful where I stand. I'll get as close as I can for you. And you can see these wonderful columns and the original paint that's still there. Look at that. It's amazing that these things still survive. The pulpit here, I believe, is 17th century, and it's a most peculiar one. I've never seen one like this before. It has these hinges here, and this, although it's locked, I believe, but this opens up, and you have to, as you can see, it's on this pedestal, and so you would have had to climb onto this step here and then step into the pulpit. So the priest would have had to do some hard work. Now here we are right underneath the tower, and I'm going to go up and show you these beams. There was a peal of 6 bells up there originally, but they've been taken out. The other thing I wanted to show you before we press on into the chancel is the roof itself. And above this arch, whoops, that's Stevie falling over backwards. That, and I'm going to pan in, is actually the 10 Commandments. Now originally there were 2 other plaques up there. You can probably just see the indentations as to where they were. So we're going to go down. And again, this arch here, we have on this arch here, that is the Lamb of God, I believe. And again, as you can see, it would have been highly decorated. Look at this, it's so wonderful that these things survive. Here on this, again, underneath here, there's more and more wall paintings, and this whole arch would have been completely decorated. Now, as we come round and look at the back of this arch, I've got to be careful where I stand, you will see the rest of the paintings up here. Whoops, that's Stevie almost falling over. I'm going to zoom in. Oof. Hi guys, if you like the videos that I create for you, and I travel all over creating these videos, you can help support me by making a small donation via PayPal. I'll put the details at the end of the video, and small donation, anything will help in order to support me, and I can make more videos and travel to more churches and further afield. I do appreciate everyone who watches the videos, and I do appreciate people that share, like, subscribe, but a small donation would be extremely welcome. It does take me a great deal of time in order to create these videos, and if you do enjoy them, help support me. That's all I ask. So thank you very much for watching. Take good care and enjoy the rest of the video. Bye. We're going to zoom in on some of these paintings up the top there. Let's have a look. You see these 2 chaps, these 2 figures up here by that, what would have been a window. I can't tell you much about the others, but I'm guessing it's what we do have in actual fact, I think, is the crucifixion of Christ, or Jesus. And here, whoops a daisy, this one here is where the soldier has speared Jesus on the cross. Look at this. Wow. As I say, this is the original paint. Look at it. Look at this. It really is fantastic that it survived. And we have what would have been wall paintings. These whole wall would have been decorated, as we've seen before in some of the other churches. And because obviously there's been so many repairs to the church over the years, it's very, very difficult to make out exactly what we have here. The altar rails with these twists, I believe, date back to about the 17th century. These types of rails were ordered to be placed in most of the churches, as I understand it, by William Laud, Archbishop of Canterbury in 1634, to protect the altar, especially from dogs who might otherwise defile the sanctuary. There's a communion table here. Now, it does have a cover over it, so I'm not going to take it off. But underneath there is a communion table, which dates back, let's have a little, yeah, it's covered up. But this table actually dates back to the 17th century. And again, as you can see, oh, look at this little chap here. But as you can see, all of this would have been painted, and there's still remnants of paint here. And this is some of the graffiti. This is just a small glimpse of the graffiti throughout this church. Some of it, I understand, is Latin. So that tells you how old the graffiti is. And there's lots more on the graffiti around here. So, and more paintings. Here we have the lid of a 14th century coffin, and it's believed that it's probably a priest buried underneath there. Also, we have a couple of other tombstones here, and these would have had brasses in them, but obviously they've been well worn and taken out over the years. As we look down, this is from the north aisle, and on the wall here we have another painting, and it looks like two priests, one carrying a rod and the other a staff. And this is 15th century. Look at that. Now there's another painting here, which I can't make that out. Again, it needs full restoration. And then there's something over here as well. And this is the view back down the north aisle. Again, I'll show you some more of this graffiti. We have something here dated 1866, no, 1869, I think that is. And also we have one here that's 1681. There's graffiti everywhere. 1604. T. Biden, it says there. I wonder if that's got anything to do with Biden from the United States. President Biden, as he was. And if I pen down, come down here, there's so much graffiti in here. Also, it's believed that some of these notches on these stones is where they used to sharpen their swords back then. But there's so much graffiti on here. Wow. Some of it is very well done, and some of it's rather poor. But yeah, it always fascinates me to see that people, way back then, you know, we had graffiti artists. Although these weren't very much artists as such, it was more leaving their initials. I was trying to find, I did notice in here something Latin, but no, this one here, this dates back to 1773. I wanted to show you this Corbel here, because he's actually, it looks like he's eating his fingers. The poor fella's seen better days, but he's been sitting up there for a few hundred years. Here we have one of the old piscinas. Look at that. Incredible. And I wanted to show you the stonework here as well. I take it within there would have been, my guess, there would have been statues in there. And again, all of this is all covered with graffiti. 1806. If I pan in, maybe you can see some of this.